I always try to put a little bit of my soul in the guitar. This is a mixture of sweetness, which I sometimes have, not always, and a little bit of bravery. The part that I love the most about working with wood, it's touching it, the feeling of the wood in my hands. It's something that always reminds me about who I am, where are my roots, where I belong to. The wood needs to be dried at least for 30 years, which means that I'm using the materials that my grandfather bought. I never met him, he died 1 month before I was born, so I get to touch the things that he picked without knowing if they will be for me, because I'm the first woman in the family to make guitars, so it's quite special. Once you have picked the materials, then you start to prepare all the parts of the guitar. We always start with shaping of the neck. Second part, it's the top. When we decide the materials, we decide which one of the templates that we have are we gonna use. The first thing that you do when you cut it is to put it in the solera. The solera is a mold that we use for the top and the back to give the guitar this little curve so it sounds better. And then for the top, we need to put the rosette in it. And it's little pieces of wood, and we make the drawing, the design, and we have to start putting every single piece so it matches. The rosette, it's one of the most difficult parts to do, but it's also one of the most creative ones where you are allowed to do whatever you want. It takes me like 2 months and a half to make a couple of guitars, because we are always making a couple of them, so when one is gluing we can work with the other one. Actually, when a guitar is gluing, we're gonna use this old form of clamp. These ones we made ourselves here, so we can put pressure on the guitar. The flamenco and classical guitar, they may look equal, but in the construction they're different. Classical player, they always look for a neat note, bright sound, but the flamenco ones, they just want soul. Everybody asks about the sides bending. You have to put them under the water for a couple of hours, and then you do this bending with heat. We use a little oven, and if you get the wood wet through the process, you can bend the sides to the shape of the guitar. The condo business started with the uncle of my grandfather in 1915. Nowadays, in this workshop, we are 3 people, plus my father. At first, continuing the tradition, it was not something that I had in mind. And my father suggested me to come to the workshop in the evenings, just to try. And I found it beautiful to know how the family business works and how to make a guitar. The first guitar that I closed, I remember going back home and my smile couldn't be bigger. Because it's the first moment that you see a complete guitar. For joining off the back, we need to put enough pressure to stick the back and the sides, but it's not so much so the sides could break. The tradition is to give your first guitar to your mother, but I'm not a boy, so I decided to give it to my father, which was my master. I was totally afraid that it would be a mistake and a mess and it wouldn't sound. But it did sound, and it did sound well, and I couldn't be more proud. I remember this as one of the most exciting days in my life. Once you have stuck all the guitar together, then you start with a fingerboard. We always use ebony from Africa, and it's a really tough material because it has a lot of density, it's really heavy. You have to be very careful in the distribution of the frets. If you are mistaken by just 1 millimeter, you wouldn't be able to tune it. It would be impossible. After that, you only have to give the last touches. Once a guitar is finished, we have to adjust the neck bone and the bridge bone. And this is really important because that will decide the tension of the strings. Sometimes you need a whole day to adjust the guitar to find it perfect. But I guess it will never be perfect because it depends on the person who plays the guitar. I have really good memories with flamenco music, and for me it means home actually. It comes from the heart of a person.
Canto por bulería y a mí me da pena. Recuerdo los cantos de mi Antonio Chaqueta.
I have this romantic idea that this is my grain, that I live in this world so someone else can make music, which gives life to all of us.
Que yo me voy emborracha, que yo me voy emborracha con un buchito de aguardiente, con un buchito de aguardiente. Yo Chaqueta cantaba, ay primita mía, contigo nadie se podía comparar. Por eso mi Chaqueta te he tenido siempre en la historia. Por eso mi garganta, de corazón te canta. Tu cante llevo siempre yo metido en mi memoria. Son